Hello, hello, hello. And welcome back to I still don't have a good intro. I'm sorry, that's my bad. We're back again with another podcast. I know you've all been desperately waiting for this. So today I thought I didn't plan that much again. This one is literally I thought I would take a little bit step back from the heavy explicit sexual content featured in the last podcast and go a little bit lighter. I don't know. I feel like this one's just gonna be about love and relationship. Which makes me sound like this is like a one of those magazines, but I don't know, I felt like this was the week to explore love and relationships as well. So we're gonna answer these questions. I did not really even screen them or look at them. So there's some I might skip and we might not even get to them, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. Um the first one, which is how do you know when you love someone? That one's like such a it's such a major question to me. Oh, that's so hard. Cuz I feel like there's stages. So I feel like there's a lot of feelings that feel close to love that people get confused with love. But I don't know. I feel like it's when you I don't know. I guess I would classify it is when you care about someone's needs as like the same and maybe the same if not more as yours. That's what I would classify love. I don't know. It's not saying that like you're the one that's like fixing it. It just literally means like, oh, you care about this person. Maybe the same, if not more than yourself. That's a very baseline that I'm giving you. I've never really thought about this. I don't know what I would classify love because it's not so much of like, oh, you do this formula XYZ. It's more of a feeling that happens. So I feel like when you feel the feeling, uh, I guess it's like asking me like, how do you know when you have an orgasm? It's I don't know how to explain this one, but I feel like that's all I got. I'm so sorry. I'm struggling here. Do you think that if you love someone, you'll always love someone, or do you think it will fade away with time? That one, I so here's I think there's just two definitions, right? So there's you love someone, and I feel like love can be used for family members, it can be used for friends, it can be used for romantic relationships. But I feel like there you can be love someone, this is literally like you care about them, right? But then there's like, oh, I'm in love with someone. And I feel like once you love someone, you're always going to love them. But I feel like I'm losing my train of thought. I feel like if you fall out of love with someone or fall into love with someone, it's a little bit different than just loving them. And I feel like, yes, you can fall out of love with people, but still love them. I don't know. For me, it's really hard. It's like really hard. Um, these are so deep. I like this one, which is, do you believe in love at first sight? I believe in, like, if we're talking about you literally just seeing someone, I believe in lust at first sight. Like, obviously, you have to be attracted to someone to, like, want to be with them. I'm not talking about being like, oh my god, this person is more attractive. Like, but you have to, like, obviously want to, like, have sex with them. When you've reached that point, um, then I feel like it's about learning about who this person is and how you guys interact and click together. But I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I don't believe in love at first sight. I feel like maybe with the whole online age, because you can basically get like a summary of a person. Um, I'm at loss for words here. I don't know. I feel like maybe online I could see that happening, especially for like a prolonged time. But I feel like if you're like just wandering in like a park or something and you see someone, I don't think that's love. That's probably just like you're intrigued. I don't know. I guess I will say my final is yes, I do believe. I do believe in it. Should love always feel comfortable or should love always feel new and exciting? Ow. Ooh. I guess this depends on what relationship you're in, right? I feel like it depends on the person. There's the type of person that gets like very like the extroverted person that they always need to be doing something. And I feel like them just sitting around and not doing anything is like dread. And then there's the other person that like dreads doing things. So I, I feel like you could find a balance, but it depends on your relationship and also the point in your relationship. Like I feel like even if you guys are like outgoing people, at a certain point, that's gonna get like dull because you're doing it all the time. I don't know. I feel like it's still gonna be fun, but I feel like maybe a balance would be better. Of like, oh, we're gonna try some new stuff to get us out of our comfort zone, but we're still gonna be comfortable as sometimes. Comfortable sometimes. I guess that would be my verdict. Um, is romantic love the most important love at all? Love of all. Oh, I feel like that's like your number one priority. Correct me if I'm wrong. At least for me, like, but I feel like not everyone has romantic love. And I feel like with priorities, you'd be like, okay, so this is the person that I'm like mainly concerned with. This is the person that I'm like, this is my priority. It doesn't mean that like they don't care about all the other people in their life. It's just like, this is what I'm concerned about right now. Which is hard because I feel like a lot of people, when people get into relationships, especially new relationships, they feel like they are abandoning like everyone for this person. So I don't know. I feel like yes. I feel like it is the most important one. Obviously you have children. I feel like that's the most important one, honestly. I feel like your kids go above your partner. I don't have kids, so I wouldn't know. What do you think makes people fall out of love? Hmm. I think a big one would be betrayal. And it obviously changes on who that is. But I feel like there's certain even with that you could still be in love, but it really I feel like it's depending on the person's boundary on when they've been like, okay, this is no longer fixable, and also like what is your relationship? Are you married? Because like I feel like if you're married, you're gonna try a lot harder to try to fix what took you so longer to build. Versus if it's a newer relationship, I feel like people are more okay to be like, oh, okay, let's just throw in the towel and start over because it didn't take us this long to do this. Versus when people have put in so much effort and they've put up so much time, like it's like, okay, that's all not for nothing. We're going to fix this. I made a commitment. So I feel like it depends. I honestly feel like people can fall out of love and back into love, but it depends on when. Like, if you're just dating for like, I don't know, like 2 months, and then I don't know, I can see people literally just separating completely and never even getting a chance to work on that. I can see that, but I think it's possible. I think but I think betrayal is the number one thing on any line. Anything where you're like, okay, I made these commitments, I agreed to view our relationship in this way, and then something got skewed horribly. Or people have identity issues, or people have things that they didn't accomplish. And they put all their, there's so many things of like, oh, I've put myself in this relationship 100%, and there's literally nothing for me out of it. And then you're like, okay, maybe I need to take a step back. But there's so many things. There's so many things I feel like could people. I don't think it's just gonna be like, oh, I woke up on a Tuesday and I don't love you. I don't think that's gonna happen. But what constitutes cheating slash unfaithfulness for you? Ooh, this is a big one. Okay, so that's what I feel like there's a difference. So there's a difference of like, okay, I feel betrayed versus they have violated a boundary that has been laid down. Which obviously I think one is worse, but they both like you feel that you still feel the same. Let's get real here. So I feel like when you feel betrayed because you love someone and maybe they're showing affection to someone else when they shouldn't be, and you're just like, what the freak? I feel like that's on the level of like betrayal. But I don't think that would be considered like, let's get into semantics. I don't think that would be like considered like actually cheating. I think that would just be like, okay, you feel betrayed by someone that you love, which is obviously valid, and some people I wouldn't even want to go anywhere after that. But I feel like when you're cheating is like, okay, we laid down the rules. These are the boundaries. You violated the law. I feel like that one's a little bit different. And then like what constitutes both of that? Like some people would say talking to someone because you feel betrayed. So because you feel betrayed, then it's cheating. Which I feel like it's 100% valid to feel however you want to feel, but I feel like people need to communicate because I feel like if you feel like, oh, this person talking, which is hard. Let me get real, but I feel like this person is talking to someone, and or maybe you perceive it as flirting, or maybe they are flirting because that's just how they talk to people, or maybe they're trying to get this person to have sex with them. There's so many possibilities on what could be happening. Um, I feel like that that you have to have a conversation with yourself, and you have to have a conversation with, hopefully you're in a place where you can do that in that relationship, to be like, okay, this is how I feel. My feelings, you don't have to say this. You could, but your feelings are valid just because maybe they're not justified. You are completely normal to have to feel this way. And if hopefully you're in a relationship where someone has opened the space enough for you to be like, okay, this is my issue. This is what I'm feeling. And hopefully they'll meet you halfway and be like, okay, maybe we can help you so you don't have to feel like this. Like I feel like there's ways to do it, but there's always like the clear stuff. Like if you walk around and your girlfriend is literally making out with someone at a party, like that's pretty clear cheating. Like, and here's who's to say what gets done after that. But obviously it depends on what relationship you're in. Blah, 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 poly, open. Like there's so many different possibilities on what you could be, and people are still gonna feel betrayed, and people are still gonna have issues communicating that they're feeling betrayed. And so I feel like you can either play it safe, or you can have a conversation, or you can just be the wild card. But who knows? I guess that would be my definition of cheating. How long do you think it takes before you know you love someone? Before you know you love someone, or before you love someone? Like, I feel like before you, I feel like you're gonna know. You're gonna feel the feeling, and you're gonna know you love someone. And let's just say, like the test, I would usually say, is any amount of betrayal that you do feel, you're gonna feel times a million because of how deeply your feelings are. It's obviously gonna hurt if someone does it randomly to you, but when it's someone that you actually care about and someone that you love, it's gonna really hurt you. So I feel like when you realize, obviously that's not the test, like waiting for someone to betray you, so you're like, oh my god, I love this person. I I think I think the question is like how long until you love the person. I, I- and I think what I would say is when you're comfortable with someone, and then you finally like you see almost like you can connect with someone. Like I feel like obviously not every person you meet you're gonna love. So I feel like there's a difference of like, okay, I'm friends with this person versus I'm in love with this person. So I feel like I don't know how to explain the feeling. But I feel like if a person has felt it in their life, they're gonna recognize the feeling when they feel it. I feel like I feel like the problem is not usually recognizing it. I feel like it's expressing that feeling, especially because like let's be real, 80% of relationships are not going to give you the space to say that, or not even going to make it comfortable for you to say that. So people are probably not going to say that. So I don't know. That's what I would that's my take on it. Um do you believe love changes you? Oh, wholeheartedly. Like, oh my god, I feel like when people are in love, the I feel like you almost, at least for me, maybe I'm like my emotions are way too intense, but it's almost like your own self becomes non-existent. Whereas not you're thinking about yourself and you want yourself to be good, but you're like your number one priority and your number one concern is this other person in your life. Like I feel like that's the defining moment of like, oh, my goal is to make this person happy. My goal is to be around this person. My goal is to help this person succeed. My goal is blah 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 blah. Like I feel like when you do that, you absorb so much of the person that you love. So I feel like the bad habits that maybe you tolerate that they shouldn't be doing, you put up with, and think you not even just put up with, you become. And I feel like a lot of it you don't notice because you're in that love bubble where it doesn't hurt you because it's because you're in love with the person, which is it's amazing thing. I'm not trying to discount on it, but there are times when I have to check myself and I'm like, okay, wait, is this actually what I should be doing, or am I just like losing track because I care about this person so much? Which is not necessarily a bad thing because I feel like when you think of, I have that conversation of like, oh, what is it gonna be like when you're at the end of your life? What are you gonna think? Are you gonna think that you're obviously gonna think you had more experiences? But what are you gonna want out of life? Are you gonna wish that you spent 99% of your time? I was gonna go there. People are usually like, do you want to spend 99% of your time at your job? But I'm like, most of the time, let's be real, people do that for people that they love. They're doing it for their family. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it not always necessarily. There are the few people who actually love what they're doing, which kudos. But I feel like love for me, when I look at like how, when I want to look at my life, it's going to be about my family. It's going to be about the people that I care about. It's not going to be about all this other stuff that seems so important now, and it's going to continue to feel so important. But at the end of the line is literally going to be like so like minuscule. Like it's going to be it's the smallest thing ever. But right now, we know it don't feel like that. So I feel like, yeah, it's a long way off hearted of saying I feel like we actually become our partners in long term relationships, and our partners change us for the better. But who knows? um, is forever something you think about with your lover? That word is so, I like it, but it's like I feel like I can't pull it off. Like I feel like it's not a word that I could just like flow out of my mouth. But I feel like that's something that not normal. I hate that. I feel like that's something that people normally think, but they're so afraid to express. Because they're like, okay, if I'm too much upfront, then I'm going to scare this person away and you're never going to actually have anything real with them, which is a valid fear to have. But I feel like with almost anything, if you don't take a risk, you're not gonna get anything. It's so it's scary. It's so scary to be like, oh, I'm gonna take this jump and hope it doesn't ruin everything. But I feel like it's the bravest thing ever, and I feel like I don't know. I'm not the person that even if I would if I'm never gonna be the person that thinks that's too much or that's too early, but that's just me. And I can't just say that to people on the internet because then they're gonna say it. They're gonna express themselves to someone and be like, "But you told me," and I'll be like, "I'm sorry, I didn't know they were gonna shut you down like that." But I feel like you need to have the define the relationship talk early on if you have those feelings. If you're having such intense feelings that you're like, "Oh, I'm in love with the person that I'm sleeping with." You have to have that talk, that conversation, because you're going to end up in a situation when they're not going to feel the same, and then you're going to end up in like an unrequited love situation, which freaking sucks. And you're like so already developed into a relationship with them. Like it's not going to be good for you. The like honestly, if you're in that state, the best thing is to have that conversation. And if they get maybe if they give you like the wishy-washy of like, "Oh, I don't know, give it some time." But if they're straight up like, "Oh, I don't see you that way. I just want to use you as a F buddy." It would probably be the best decision to get out of Dodge. Because having sex with someone, if you're in love with someone and they don't feel the same, I feel like it's the recipe for disaster. Like, maybe it's just me. Do you think the way your family lives has affected the way you love? Oh, definitely. I'm so fucked up in my head. I have like major abandonment issues where I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna go for it because everything's gonna get like lost. It's it's a big risk to go for, and then you're wholeheartedly depending on someone and hoping that they don't leave you, which is my disaster. It's like it's literally my nightmare of like, oh, I just have describing abandonment issues. I have major abandonment issues. I also have like a skewed relationship. I've never seen like a healthy form of love. I've never even seen like love in my face growing up as a child. So like I feel like the thing I have is like how I've seen like people in real life or people on TV. But I'm just like it's not necessarily on what a healthy relationship should be. And then when I think of that, I'm just like there's so many levels of like, okay, is this healthy or is this just not normal? Like, is this just not something that is done in society? I'm going on a tangent. Do you think people should change themselves to find love? Okay, so I don't think people should change themselves to find love, but I feel like they're going to. I feel like no matter what you say, of like, oh, love yourself, wait for someone to love who you truly are. It's not gonna happen because once you actually have that feeling, like everything's gonna be like, okay, what am I gonna be able? What do I have to do to get with this person? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be thinking in your head of. I don't think it's possible to say, oh, just don't do it. I don't think that's gonna happen. So I feel like the best thing is for me to say, don't change yourself. Be who you are and someone will love you. That's definitely I don't know. Do what you want, honestly. It's just people don't want people to be hurt and people don't want you to destroy yourself for someone that doesn't even actually care about you. So that's the tricky situation with stuff like that. Is even when you care about someone wholeheartedly and they don't feel the same, you can end up in situations where it's really not good for you. So I would say try to avoid that, but who knows? Maybe it's your Prince Charming. Do you believe you can be friends with someone you've loved in the past? Yes, if you're not in love with them. I feel like you have to have like a also depending on relationship you're on, right? If you're in an open relationship or if you're in a poly relationship, I feel like it's a different matter. But if you're in like exclusive, committed, we're together with just two of us for the rest of your life, I feel like it's disrespectful and it's operation. It's like it's a recipe for disaster. But I feel like if you're not in love with someone and you just love them in your past, I feel like it's fine. I feel like someone's probably gonna say stuff when they get mad, but everyone's gonna say stuff when they get mad. It's just probably gonna be more loaded. Um, I'm sorry, this is a really boring podcast. What do you think is the most important part of a romantic relationship? This is tricky. I guess I would say intimacy. I think that covers like a lot of different grounds. I feel like I'm such a different type of person where I'm not gonna be like, and I know it's ingrained in a lot of people in society of be like, I have to provide for this person, I have to do this, and I'm gonna feel like I'm not like who I'm supposed to be if I don't provide for this person. But I'm such a person where I'm like, obviously it's not gonna like it. I'm trying to be very specific. It's not a priority for me. Like it's not like something that I wasn't raised to be like, oh, I need a Prince Charming, I need someone to save me. It's not something that I'm like, oh fuck you. That's weird. But it's like not a priority. It's like if I was like shopping for a person, it would not be something that I put into the search bar at all. Like my thing would be like 100% of, which is so harder for like I don't want to say emotional connection, but it's just I'm so much more on my emotional needs being met. I'm such a needy person. Like oh my god. But I'm just trying to say like that would be my priority. Like if I felt like my we whatever like our intimacy was lacking, I feel like that would be like my oh my god, I might have to consider depending on what part you're like a 20-year marriage and you're in a rough draft and they're just like I don't know. Time to call it quits. She has not touched me in 2 days. That would be horrible. But, but I'm just saying like if I was with someone and we were like destitute living on like a smallest studio apartment off a top ramen for weeks, I wouldn't be like, okay, I got to get out of this. I got to get out of this if I felt like my emotional needs were being neglected to a point where our relationship probably wouldn't survive. That would be the like, oh, it's so loud. That would be my concern. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like I would be able to. Hopefully, if I was at that point, I would be able to communicate that. I wouldn't be like, oh, peace gone. It would have been an escalation of like, okay, this is blah 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 blah. I'm so because I'll have an intense emotion of like, I'm so mad at this person, blah 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 blah, and then literally like I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up and I'm not mad, and I'll have to think I'm like, but Kamara, they actually did something fucked up. You have to be mad. And I'll have to like try to get myself to be mad. Be like, okay, they did something wrong here. You need to be mad. Get mad. But I can't get mad. So it's I think I put up I don't want to say I put up with a lot more than what someone normally would. Here's what I'll say. If I took myself and I put it in like my kids, like it was my daughter and I'm looking at her relationship, I would probably say that's probably not the best thing to do. But like in myself, I'm like, oh, it's not hurting me. I don't care. Like I'm such a love bubble that it does not feel pain. I'm so crazy. Um um it literally just answered this. What's more important, physical or emotional? I think emotional, but I feel like physical is extremely important. Like I feel like so many people are like, I feel like the attributes, you know what I mean? Where people are like, you gotta have big ass, big tits, big dick, tight vagina, nice hit, just describing. I feel like that's not important, but like finding a relationship where you can both be like physically satisfied, I feel like that's 100% a priority. 100%. Like I feel like if you don't, that I feel like that's such a major one. And it's, again, we've talked about this. It's such a hard conversation to like bring up without hurting someone's ego, of being like, okay, this is, you know what I mean? It's so hard. So I feel like when you're in a space where you can both so hard, be physically satisfied and emotionally satisfied, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's all that matters. Obviously, you both you have to be alive, so that is very important. But it's I don't know, it's not like the end of all. Um what makes a relationship healthy? You should not ask me. I feel like I have the most unrelationship I have the most unhealthy relationship standards known to man. And I feel like if I preach them, I am just like, I don't know, asking people to be like, I don't know. I don't want to give people bad advice. So I guess what I would say, if I'm actually being realistic, it's probably not what I do. Like, I don't think it's healthy to probably put yourself like 900% in a relationship and have no identity. But that's not what I do. So it's so hard. I don't want to be a hypocrite and be like, you have to have your own identity in a relationship when I don't. So I guess I would consider that healthy, but I feel like it's such a need for me that I'm just like, oh, you have to find the balance. I don't know. I don't know if it's healthy or not. What do you think is the most important factor of keeping love alive in the relationship? Ooh, that one's hard. I feel like I grade on a curve. So I feel like depending on the person, I feel like I'll give a lot more lenience on what is like on what I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I feel like I don't want to say standards. That's so eek. But I feel like what I would want in a relationship. So I feel like depending on what I know your partner can like give to you, I feel like I would be like, oh, I don't think you would need like a letter of like, okay, I need like 10 handwritten notes a week. Like, I don't think there's anything like that. I just feel like finding a place where you guys can have open, healthy communication is always the best if possible. Because I feel like, especially if if you're with a person like me, people's minds like wander when you're not able to communicate. So you're literally thinking of like, oh, it could be this, well, it could be that, or it could be this, or it could be that. And you just had like a nice conversation, but then you analyzed it in your head for like 3 days, and now you're mad at someone. Like, that's how I operate because I overthink so much. But I feel like obviously the solution is to communicate, but especially when it's not always necessarily easy to do that. So I feel like finding a way to survive while being at that point, I don't know, is possible. It's hard. I don't know if I'm making sense here. What would you constitute a good date? I feel like this is my question, like my answer for everything. I'm like, it depends on the person. I'm so annoyed. Um, but it depends on the person. So I feel like, um, if it's depending on, okay, here, I'll go depending on the date. So if it's like your first date, I feel like the need would to be like 100% intimate. So obviously, I feel like privacy is like the goal. But I feel like if it's like your 20th date, I don't think that cares. I don't think that matters. But if it's your first couple of days, couple of dates, I feel like you need to connect without any outside interference when you're like so early on, because anything is gonna make it fucking crash. And if you're me, it takes you so long to get comfortable with people. Maybe that's just me. So I feel like if it was like like one of the first couple of dates, I feel like it would have to be something private. But if I feel like if it's casual, who knows? If you're asking someone out on a date, like it's intended to be like, okay, this is the person like I want to marry someday. But I feel like if you're, I don't know. I feel like the date is the very specific of like, oh, I'm intending to pursue this person romantically. I feel like it'd be really weird to ask someone on a date and be like, okay, yeah, I just want to be your, just want to fuck around here, which is fine. But I don't think I would consider that a date. Maybe we can consider it a date, like an appointment. That sounds like you're getting paid. Which again, I'm not judging. Besides that, like, what would I consider a good date? I don't know. Honestly, I'm good with like a good like Netflix and chill. I feel like I feel like you needed to like the dinner and a Netflix and chill combined is like perfect. I feel like what would come first? I feel like you need to have a dinner first, right? So like you could sit down and you can be intimate and you guys can talk, which is so fun. But like it's not like, oh, you're talking at a screen. You're like you forced you're forced to talk to each other directly. I feel like that would be the good environment. And then after a Netflix and chill situation, where like if someone is feeling it, you can go there, and if not, good night, kiss, and goodbye. Which I feel like there's the judgment of like, oh, someone hooked up on the first date, right? That's gone, right? No one has that. Like the whole rule of like, oh, you can't have sex with someone until you've been on like 3 dates or whatever, right? I don't think that exists anymore. I feel like I don't even think I'm gonna be real. I don't think dates exist anymore. Like I don't think people court people, honestly. Like in my experience, and I don't have a lot, I would say that people start usually dating casually, and then once they, not that I'm laughing this whole time. I'm not laughing at any of this. I'm just fucking. I'm weird. I'm sorry. But I feel like people start dating casually, and then after they start dating casually, they're like, oh, you know what? I could pursue this person romantically, and then it becomes like a romantic thing. Maybe unless you're like 30, which I don't know why I said it like that. That's not even that old. I feel like if you're older and if you're like 30 or 40, I feel like you'll go on a date. Maybe I'm just generalizing the whole public. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna end this here. This was so boring. I'm so sorry, guys. I tried to make this more interesting. It wasn't even more informal. It's just me ranting about love and relationships. But that's it. Oh my god, we've been having so many people come in the house again to repair stuff, which has been so fun. I don't think I'm gonna have any. Oh my god, I think that's it with all the updates. I'm just like, I don't think I have any more personal stories to tell you. You're just like, this is such an eventful podcast. Um, all my information will be down below if you want to check it out on YouTube. Thank you guys for putting up with this. Bye.